For decades now, televised masses like the Chalice of Salvation have been airing weekly for the homebound and infirm. And more recently, during the pandemic, these masses have provided a spiritual lifeline for the faithful, with many parishes live streaming their Sunday liturgies. In East Hampton Parish, Our Lady of the Valley has gotten on board with their own production equipment and crew to provide liturgies for their parishioners. Nick Morganelli takes us behind the scenes.
Lights, cameras, live stream. This is a new normal the community at Our Lady of the Valley in East Hampton can be excited about, as it has filled a void in the hearts of churchgoers.
I retired just a little over 2 years ago, and so I was able to start attending daily Mass, and was really sort of heartbroken when we were not allowed to come to Mass anymore.
A lot of people are telling me that actually watching the live stream, knowing that the Mass is happening in their church right this moment and they're watching it in their home, it gives a much better connection to what's going on here.
Jay Ulrich, a video specialist, has been instrumental in seeing the parish's production studio to fruition and was there from its infancy 8 years ago when they first broadcasted Masses on community access television.
I used to sit down in the front pew and make the camera go back and forth as Father walked across the altar, zoomed in and zoomed out manually. Eventually, I got bored of just having 1 or 2 views, just got bigger and bigger, and the cameras and the equipment started growing. And then COVID hit. And all of a sudden, people were scared to come to church. And the deacon who was now Father Valentine Noura, was our deacon at the time, came up with the idea with his phone that we should live stream it on Facebook. You would have laughed at our initial setup in the sacristy. We kind of more or less taped his phone around the top of this and that, and it was quite a lot of fun. But it was cramped.
Well, often when faced with challenges, we improvise. And in the case of technology, we've gone from this to something even bigger and better.
And people started saying we'd love it if we could live stream the daily Masses and we could live stream the Masses, and the money started coming in. And then at one point, I heard that we had over $10,000 that come in. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, we got to get serious about this live streaming stuff, because people they're voting with their dollars, and my facilities guys started stringing the coax cables.
We got a very nice switcher, and things started to grow. People started to fall in love with the live streaming concept. They would go to Mass and then they'd go home and watch it as well. I'd get stories from people who had fallen away from the church, who saw our live stream, and now they're starting to talk about coming back to the church again.
In 2016, I believe we repainted the church and we redid the lighting. And so it's all LED. We know it's all around 3,500K, lighting. We know what the lighting is. Audio is an issue. The church is fairly large, and there's a bit of a delay between the front of the church and the back of the church. We also have 2 microphones which are on the ends of our flags that are pointing off the back of the choir loft. So we have them set up as a separate audio system here in the back of the church. Because of the wonderful acoustics and the beauty of this church, we have lots of concerts.
Hallelujah, With better technology, there are now over 200 camera views available.
One of the cameras we have is the PTZ, a pan, tilt, and zoom camera that's on our pillar. If I decided to keep it on this shot and then decided, let's say, to go to the choir loft, watch what happens. So what we do instead is we go between fixed scenes and changes in the PTZ camera. That gives us a lot of different vantage points to show our video.
We also wanted it to be very turnkey, so that parishioners can volunteer, so don't have to learn all about video communication.
Greg DeLozier, a parishioner for 20 years, has lectured and been a Eucharistic minister, and now perhaps adds broadcast ministry to his involvement.
So we learned how to start things running, to turn things on, and even, through the few weeks, they've made improvements that have made it much more automatic and easy to do. So we're able to, for example, receive communion because we can leave it will do what it's supposed to do while we go down. Jay was talking about how there was the one view for daily Masses in all transparency. I and a couple others have sometimes used other views, and so we moved the camera around. Yeah, so Jay's shocked. And so I did learn enough to be dangerous.
And I'm not a very technical person, but I did volunteer, and Greg is right. I mean, it's simpler than I thought. Some of our older people who are unable to get to Mass at all, and this goes on afterwards. This will be a wonderful thing for them. I've been doing the daily Mass thing about 3 times a week, I guess. They have made it basically work by itself.
Jay has encouragement and advice if you are pursuing this in your parish.
For anyone out there who's building a program at their church, be gentle with your pastor. He may not be an engineer, but he may very much want to do this. We've almost raised $20,000. People have really taken this as part of their faith life. They feel like they're part of this project because they are.
Something we didn't anticipate, but now we're starting to realize the capabilities that we have. We had recently a funeral, and one of the siblings of the deceased is in England. So we live streamed the funeral, and this person in England was able to watch the funeral of their sibling. So once the concerts start up again, we've already done a lot of video work for the concerts, and that'll be a great thing the system will work for. I'm sure we're going to discover things as we go along that we're not even imagining right now.
For Reel to Reel, in anticipation of gathering for a concert again, I'm Nick Morganelli.